every Monday night at 7 p.m. Central. Listen, I'm going to do like a really, really short intro because I can't wait to get. I'm excited about this one. You know what? It's kind of bittersweet, this one, because I'm so excited to talk to these amazing educators. However, I just wish it was under different circumstances. So, I'm trying to think where this happened. I think it was Easter Sunday, maybe it was the Monday after. I'm on the Facebooks and doing my scrolling thing, and one of my friends, I'm looking at these just unbelievable pictures of devastation to their school in Chattanooga, Tennessee, at East Brainerd Elementary School. And when you know what it is, it's so hard to get your head around these images of devastation after a tornado. And I'm looking at them, and it reminds me of trying to wrap my head around when we had Hurricane Harvey here in Houston. Just trying to make sense of that reality of the devastation that has occurred. And so the more I looked at these pictures, it's just so shocking to think this is where that school family meets every day. And to think about the lives that were impacted, and just what these kids were thinking, because they're seeing pictures on their parents' Facebook and social media and on the news. And I'm looking at these images, and I want to show you some of what I saw. And this was from Michelle Shipley's Facebook. And just like that alone, just seeing the safety and the serenity in those pictures at the top. And just I've been in some thousands of schools, and I can just picture kids in that room, just loving one another, loving being there. And then when you compare that with those other images, man, it's just heartbreaking. And then as I go through the internet, and just to get your head around that bricks and roofs and parts of a school, of an institutional building flying around, is just so hard to conceptualize. And so I knew I wanted to have their story told. And that's what I want to do tonight. So tonight we have my friend Michelle Shipley and her teacher friends, her teacher homies from East Brainerd Elementary, and we have Miss Kaitlyn Ray, and Miss Logan Betts, and also Mary Ellen Markel. So I'm going to bring him in, and let's talk about this thing. Let's see. I'm just fascinated to hear the story and what it was like that night, and when they found out, and kind of where they are now, and what everyone's doing to pull this whole thing back together. So we have Michelle, who is joining us, and we also have a dog. We have a dog joining us, and that's Logan. And then we have, where is she? Let's get her on here. There's Mary Ellen. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here tonight. You guys are awesome. Hey, I know. Hey, all right. So let me start with this. I'm looking at that classroom, and I'm telling you, I can see the smiles in there. I can see kids huddled around tables and working. I can see kids lining up, the excitement of, coming and going out of class. And then when you juxtapose that against the complete and total wreckage, the devastation, at what point did you guys find out what had happened, that the school was directly hit by the tornado? When was that, Michelle?
Probably around, say, like 6 o'clock in the morning. I didn't get much sleep that night. The tornado came through Sunday at 11:30 p.m. And as soon as I heard about it, I was texting my families, my students, all my teacher friends that live right next to the school, and checking on them. And then we got pictures in at around 6 o'clock in the morning, because it was still dark outside, that confirmed that our school had been hit, and pretty bad.
And then was it phone calls and people? Oh my gosh! Like, at what point did you guys go up there and see it for the first time?
I actually went up there the very next day as soon as it got sunlight, so that I could see it with my own eyes, because the night before we knew we had been hit, but no one could confirm how bad it was, if it was the entire building, those type of things. So I was just curious, and I probably should have waited and not gone right at 8 a.m. because it was just shocking to see it with your own eyes. And just in that moment, like, I didn't even know what to do.
Yeah. Hey, Logan, for you, when you saw it for the first time, what was it? I mean, it's got to be surreal just to see that kind of wreckage.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I too, like Kaitlyn, went on Monday that next day because, it happened Easter Sunday. And me and another third grade teacher friend who lives in that area, but fortunately was okay, we walked to the school because, there were so many trees and power lines down. You couldn't drive. And, we walked up and just seeing such a, massive institutional building, like you put it, just kind of ripped apart is really, really hard to take in, especially when we teachers and students, we spend more time there probably than our own homes. So It really is. I mean, and we've said this phrase a million times and we'll say it a million more, but it really is a second home. And to see it kind of ripped apart and, I could stand in the back of the building and look right through my classroom window and see the sky is just it's like you put it, it's surreal. And you can't be more thankful that we weren't in the building. So, but it's hard to take in, definitely.
Hey, Mary Ellen, that I know you teach 5th grade, and I'm trying to, I saw a couple of aerial photos of the school. I'm trying to picture, but there's this one wing section. Is that where your classroom was, where it's completely?
Yes. So I'm on the 4th, 5th grade hall, and unfortunately, it was the literacy side of the hallway because all literacy teachers were on the right-hand side of the hallway. It was our side of the hallway that was completely devastated. All the walls that separate the classrooms where the cubbies were, they all collapsed. So the roof is gone, the walls collapsed. So everything that was in my room is in the next room over or out the building, who knows? But everything was a complete loss. And seeing that was it was hard because I had so much else going on when we had the tornado. I live in East Brainerd, and my mother-in-law's house was destroyed. And so trying to compartmentalize everything going on at that time and trying to wrap my head around it was hard. And I didn't really know until about the next day that we started getting the pictures to see how bad it was. And that's when I realized everything was gone. And I guess that was heartbreaking. That's the hardest part.
When I look at the pictures, and even in the rubble, I can see all of all the teacher stuff that they bring to make it a home for kids. Some schools I go to, especially new ones, like brand new, they don't want you to hang up anything, they don't want you to paint anything, they don't keep your curtains at home, we'll just use the mini blinds. But that school, just some of the stuff I see in the rubble, I can see, decorations and lamps and curtains and streamers and all kinds of things. And I'm wondering, is that school one where, just one of those where teachers really take it upon themselves to customize it in such a way that it feels more homey for kids?
Absolutely. I mean, our principal has given us the freedom to make our classrooms a second home, not just for us, but for our kids too. And we want to make it a space where they want to be and that they want to feel safe and secure and that they just love to be in. And so we fill it with all of these lamps and rugs and flexible seating and things to make it our own. And it shows each one of our own personalities, and that reflects on our students coming right back.
Was that your classroom with the bouncy balls?
Yes, it was.
Those are miles and miles away.
I am sharing them with the whole building now.
There's a kid in Memphis with one of your balls. He's sitting on it right now. Yeah. Hey, Miss Ray, you teach kindergarten, and I'm just wondering, what is that, because the kids don't come back and there's no closure, that we send them home on Friday or Thursday or whenever it was. And then the school's deficit. Like, what steps have y'all taken, especially for the little bitty babies, to somehow reach out and connect with them?
So I know for me, I've just tried to make it as normal as possible, with all this going on. There's not much normalcy happening, but I think it's important to stay in touch. I've been checking on them, making home visits, as long as parents will let me. We had a little end of the year celebration. So just those top things for them to know that I am still there for them, even among all the craziness that's happened over the past couple weeks.
It's just interesting watching these comments come up, talking about just how thankful people are for y'all. And I think this is one of those times, and maybe doubly true, and it's certainly true around the globe, where people have taken notice that they have taken teachers and educators for granted as far as raising the next generation of leaders who are sitting in our classrooms today. And I think it's doubly, especially true for your school, simply because it's the challenge is twofold, where we're not coming back, but at some point we're going to come back and the school is not what it used to be. And so moving into the fall, what's the plan? Ms. Betts, what do you think is going to happen? Do you have any idea? Ms. Betts is memorized.
Yeah, the plan. I think that's what we all want to know.
Yeah.
There's been a few options, some are better than others. We're still waiting on like a final for sure answer, but I know right now it's looking like we're going to be moving into a middle school that has been for now that they've outgrown. And so our school being so large, our student population is 1,035, and we have over 200 staff members. So putting us anywhere is just not an option. There has to be somewhere big enough to hold all of us together. So, but I know we're all excited. I'm ready to be back in a normality and pattern routine and be back with my kids and, start a fresh new year all together.
Yeah. Hey, is that a challenge for you, Mary Ellen? The whole, because I don't know about you guys, but I love routine. Like for me, the hardest part is the summer, because there's no bells ringing. Like I love a good bell system where it tells me what to do and where to go and how much time I have. But now it's so different, without the physical space of the school. And then we're trying to do this distant thing and we're trying to figure out how to close out the year. Has that been hard for you as well?
It has been hard. I like a routine. I like knowing I have things to do, and just as much as I'm looking forward to summer, I still like having my routine. And I'm going to miss, and I've already started to miss, not seeing my kids every day, because we would always have daily Zoom meetings with our students, and they knew to expect it every afternoon at 2:00. And I missed them. And our last Zoom meeting was sad, and because we knew it was the end, and so that was just hard. But yeah, I like routine, and I think us having that routine with our students, despite the fact that we were doing it virtually, they counted on that. They counted on us being there, and we were. And so we've just told them, they're going to have a good summer, and we will keep in touch.
Yeah, I think for sure, especially in this time, what I've been doing, encouraging educators, if even if you have time, maybe once a week, still stay connected, because that structure for kids, they just depend on it. And what we've always known to be true, and what other people are finding out now, is not every kid has the home life that many of us did growing up. Mm-hmm. And that time where they were connecting online or somehow was the one thing that they could count on that was going to happen. They weren't sure about meals, they weren't sure about anything else, but they knew at 2:00 there's going to be some connection. And when you closed out the your year with your kids, Miss Shipley, what was that like?
Oh, we were all in tears. I have a partner teacher, so we split 2 classes together, and we made video montages to share with our kids over Zoom, and we all just cried. I cried, the kids cried. It was just we never really got closure. We didn't know on March 13th that we were never going to walk into that building again and never going to be our class family in the same spot ever again. And so it was hard. They all kept asking, can we Zoom next week? Can we Zoom over the summer? And so I'm actually trying to plan a picnic for my whole class once this COVID-19 lifts up just a little bit, right towards the beginning of school, so we can all be together at least one last time.
Yeah. Man, I've been talking to superintendents. For me, that's the main. When we have our conferences online and Zoom, of course, my little hidden agenda in every conversation I have is trying to figure out a way to bring these kids back together. Like, for sure, we're going to matriculate into the next year, into the next grade, into the next school for lots of them. But before we do, is there any way just for a day or two, where we can come back, provide that structure, get some closure, and then give them a send-off to wherever they're going next? I just think, just on an emotional level, it is absolutely critical. And even for even like those kindergartners, like the family that they create in that classroom, those kinds of relationships are such a deep level at that age. And I think sometimes we miss out on it, like we don't recognize or see it as adults. But I think as a kindergarten teacher, like, it's clear to you that those kids love each other, love being there together.
Thankfully, this year didn't have to be as sad for me in my class, because all 20 of them, well, almost all 20, are actually coming to first grade with me. So they're all super excited. We're going to all be back together. And, for kindergartners, they don't understand the whole school thing anyways, because they've never been before. So they don't get that, get new friends. So they're excited, but they don't honestly, truly understand. But we're just all ready for the fall and to be back in our room. And they're excited to be back with their friends and me. And so I'm thankful that I didn't have to have a sad goodbye like normal, but I'm one of the very few.
Yeah. Hey, I'm wondering, Miss Betts, in your, we have these careers as educators, and it doesn't, we add a little bit to our resources every year. We decorate every year. We're just a little bit here and there. And after a few years, you realize, oh my gosh, I have a ton of stuff in this classroom. And so, like, what has the process been about, like, getting all that, like, how do you acquire more stuff and build up your personal teacher inventory of things? Have you guys even begun to figure out how you're going to do it?
Yeah. So fortunately for me, I've only been teaching for 3 years, but it's amazing to see what you accumulate in just 3 years. So I mean, for me, since I was in elementary school, I've known I wanted to be a teacher. So all through high school, all through college, growing up, I was accumulating things that I thought I might want or might need in my room. And, I had family friends and, my teachers that would give me things. And so I came in, fortunately, with a lot of things already. And then, like you said, you add on every year because you really just want it to be that safe and comfortable space for not only yourself, but for your kids. And so in my room, like, Miss Markel's was one of the ones that was completely destroyed and everything was lost. So like the 5th grade hall, it's that side of the 5th grade hall, the 3rd grade hall was also completely ripped off, walls falling into each other. So, I've definitely have great people in my circle who have, been so very generous in sharing, sending gift cards my way, or sharing my Amazon list that we've been allowed to create and share out, or, sending me things off of my Amazon list, whether it's, a pack of pencils or a bookshelf. So my poor mail lady has been struggling lately, but I'm there helping her. So every mail comes in, I have huge stairs that come up to the front porch. So, because I live on a hill, so I'm there at the mailbox and we carry it all up together. We get our workout in, but I've been very, very fortunate. And I know many of ours also shared Amazon list. On Facebook, literally every other day you see, thank you so much. People are so generous, like complete strangers that I don't even know have, sent me things from my Amazon list and included the sweetest notes that literally like bring me to tears every time I open stuff, because I'm just like, how can people be this generous? So that has been extremely, extremely helpful. And, like I said, whether it's a share on Facebook or, one eraser that you buy, just know that that's all stuff that we personally buy. And so you are helping me personally and not, whoever at the school. So, right. And helping me helps my kids. So we're extremely, extremely thankful.
I think that's the beauty of the Help a Teacher Facebook page. And that is, I got a theory. Here's my theory. My theory is because everyone has had a teacher in their life that has truly made an impact. Like, they still remember the class, they still remember the details, remember what they talked about. Because of that, that's why they love to help and they love to donate. And Even for you guys, like, and for lots of us, that's why we became teachers. And is that true for you, Mary Ellen? When you first thought about being a teacher, was it based on an influential person you had in your life in school?
Not necessarily. It was based on the fact that I knew I loved working with kids, and I knew it was just something that I enjoyed doing. And if you could find something you enjoy doing, then it's not so much work for you, right?
Yeah.
So I knew that that's what the direction I wanted to go in, and it was actually a second career because my first degree was in social work. And so then I went back to school and got my master's in education. So this was something I did a little later, but and this is I'll be starting my 5th year. And so for me, it's just something that I knew I wanted to do, and I've really enjoyed doing.
Yeah. I always say that, if you do what you love, you'll never work another day enough. And I think that applies to everything except for teaching. Listen, man, this is hard work. This is a lot of work.
Amen.
I'm passionate about it and I love it. But when it comes down to it, man, I'm exhausted. It's really, really hard. How about for you, Miss Ray and Miss Shipley? What brought you guys into the career?
Well, I had some pretty amazing teachers in my life. Every school, elementary, middle, high school, there was at least one teacher there that just touched my heart. And in fact, I'm friends with lots of them on Facebook now. But I wanted to be that. I wanted to be that teacher that my students would remember for forever and would make an impact on their lives for the good, and maybe not in an education standpoint, but just on their lives. Like I would teach them a life lesson that they would bring with them as well as educate them.
For me, I just mainly wanted to love on kids. I've just always had this love for being with them and around them. And I knew that if I went into teaching that I could give all of my love to them. But it was really cool this morning, actually, one of my former teachers, she was my 3rd and 4th grade teacher. She looped with me. She messaged me on Facebook this morning and said, what's your address? I want to mail you something for your new classroom. So just to think back, I was sitting in her room 10, 12 years ago, and now I have my own classroom and she's pouring back into me. So it was just really, really neat.
Yeah. What's most shocking is to hear you say you were in that room 10 years ago, because I was thinking, I was about 30 years ago.
Well, okay. Maybe it was a little bit longer than that. I was doing math on the spot, okay?
She's calculating it now. Yeah. Hey, for you as in kindergarten, I know for me, and I think it's everybody, like great teachers, deep down inside, we all want to use the content of our classroom to teach that lesson that we really want to instill in kids. Like for sure, I want to stuff some knowledge into that kid's noggin, no doubt. But in the process of that, the reason I'm doing it is because of the ultimate lesson I want that kid to have instilled within who they are, not just affecting what that kid knows, but who that kid is becoming. And in your K classroom, what is that for you? So when your kids are, I'll use your math at the 30th high school reunion in 10 years, what's that ultimate lesson you want for them to remember when they think back to your classroom and your family that you created for them? What is that lesson you want them to think about and remember?
I would say academics aside, I just want them to look back and know that they're important and they're loved. And I want them to remember all the relationships that they had, not just with me, but with their classmates, like we were saying earlier. All the people in the school, I just want them to remember their learning experience as like a powerful, positive way.
Yeah. Hey, who's been at East Brainerd the longest?
Oh, Markel. It has to be Miss Markel.
No, she said she's only taught 4 years.
I know, but I've
taught 4 years. I've taught 4 years.
I think you and I were there around the same time. I started in October. Yeah.
This was my 3rd year at this school, but this was my 8th year teaching. Just new to East Brainerd 3 years ago.
All right, out of the veterans there, who do you think would be the best at describing the culture of the East Brainerd family? at the school? How would you describe the culture? Because every school has a different vibe to it. That's the cool thing. Like when I walk into a school, man, I can feel what goes on in this place. It's just like you guys, if you walk into somebody's classroom, after you've been doing it a few years, you kind of feel the way things happen in the classroom. Same for schools. How would you describe that vibe and that culture of the school?
One of my favorite things about our school is we have so many different cultures and ethnicities in our building, not just by students, but also with teachers. We have so many languages, and it's not just that we have them, it's that they're embraced and loved. And we kind of we consider it really important that we have that in our building.
Yeah, if you took a snapshot of the diverse cultures that we have in the United States, you would probably see all of them represented in our building, and not just in a small way, in a big way, which is what makes our building so unique, is that we get exposure to all different kinds of cultures and we celebrate them. We even have an international night every year that they get to come and share their culture with their friends and their families and the community. And it's really special.
I love that. I think when people think of Chattanooga, they don't, maybe they don't think of this cultural melting pot, but it really is. Like people move there from all around, all over the planet, and I love that that's all represented for your kids to share in there. How about you, Miss Markel? For you, how would you describe that culture in the school?
I would say that we just have a very loving school. We get to know all the kids in the school. We'll see the faces in the hallway, and I know the kids in 4th and 5th because they're on my hallway, and so I learned to recognize them. So I think we've embraced all the diversity that we have there, but then we also just love them for who they are, and learn to appreciate our differences. And to be honest, I really think that the tornado and everything that's happened has kind of brought us closer together, because it is such a large school, but yet as a faculty, I think we have come together in that we know we're EBE strong, and that's our motto right now, because we're fighting for our school, we're fighting for what we need and our kids, and I think that's just drawn us closer together.
Man, I think it's so important because one thing I don't think we talk enough about is this moment in the history of this generation. They are we are modeling how to respond to these tragic circumstances, and whatever's going to be in 30 years and 40 years and 50 years in their lifetime when they're adults. And I just love that they have this entire team, entire community that they can look to as a group of people who love them. And it's inspiring. It really is. Hey, real quick, if you had to put it in words and articulate it, Miss Betts, when those kids come into challenging situations in their life when they're 35 and 40 years old, and they're looking back at this time and what they learned from watching you guys, what is it that you hope that they learned?
I hope that the biggest thing that they take out of this is that when things, get rough or not turn out to be what you expected them to be, to turn to your neighbors and to your friends and, really learn to lean on each other. And because I think as a school community and really as just a community in general, our school is huge. So, it's like somebody mentioned in the comments over there, we've been buying things off of each other's Amazon wish list, even we've lost everything. So really just learning to, helping him be in it and what can come out of this and how we're going to come stronger and be better for it is the lesson to be learned there. And, you can push through anything, and there are going to be people on the other side to help you out. So you don't have to be, as scary as it is, you don't have to be afraid in this situation.
I think you're right. Like when I look back on my life and just, I think we all do, we have these, this roller coaster of a life where the crest of the wave and there's troughs. And what I know is that the crest, the top of the wave, when things are amazing, it's always in direct proportion to the valley. Like when things are really, really hard, what I know is what's going to come out of it and what we're going to learn from it is going to be equally high. And I love that for you guys, as we would never ever wish this upon anybody, but I think what's going to happen are just these beautiful, amazing moments and acts of humanity that we'll find down the road. Hey, is there anybody that you guys want to give a special shout out to or anything? Go ahead, Shipley.
I think all of us could say our kids.
Yeah, I mean, my students have just, and not just my students, but their parents have just pulled together to support. All the parents in our school really, like, they're out there sharing our wish lists, and they're checking on us while we're sitting there trying to make sure our kids are okay. Our kids and parents want to know that we're okay and what do we need. And it's just a beautiful relationship. And I just want to thank my parents and my kids for just loving on me and know that I love them. And I'm going to be here for you, whether you are in 4th grade or you are 35. I'm going to be there, and I love you.
Isn't that one of the biggest fibs that you guys, I think we all do as teachers, where the kids walk in on that first day, say, "Good morning, nice to have you. I'll be your teacher this year." And that might be the biggest fib of all, because it's not this year. Like, we'll be the teacher for the rest of their lives. And yeah. How about you, Miss Ray?
I just want to say thank you to everyone that has checked on me, called me, texted me, Facebooked me, purchased items for my classroom, shared my classroom list, offered their assistance to set up my new classroom, all the families that have been checking on me, all my students that have checked on me. I had a student the night of the tornado. I texted them to ask them how they were, and their reply was, "Well, she's worried about you. She keeps talking about, are you okay?" And so just everyone that's made this a positive experience, it really has truly been amazing. It went from a really sad event to something that truly is powerful, and it's brought us all together. And I'm actually thankful to be experiencing it with everybody that I am. And I just know that our school is going to be amazing in the fall. And, some people have said, I think my classroom might be better than it was before. So just bringing this amazing, thing from this tragedy.
We will rise. We will rise.
Yes. Miss Betts.
Yeah, so for me, I mean, kind of the same. It's going to be repetitive, but to my students and their parents who, are continuously dojo messaging me or emailing me or Facebook messaging me, or anything really, to just make sure, is there anything that you need? Is there anything I can do to help? What can we do in order to assist you? And another person, or not really a person, but a team. My 3rd grade team is truly, truly amazing. And I'm pretty sure, that can be spoken for all of the grade level teams at our school, but it's a family on that hall. And, when there's 10 teachers, you really get close. And they've been there, out of the 10 teachers on the 3rd grade hall, 7 of us lost our rooms. And so just all of us coming together and, figuring it out. We're in it together, and we're going to figure it out, and it's all going to be okay. But just everybody that has been there for me, like, whether it's family, students, friends, amazing to see how many people are willing to help you.
Yeah. Miss Markel, what do you think?
So I would also like to thank my students and their families, and even my past students, because I've had several reach out to me wanting to help, and that is just so appreciated. And we've had complete strangers just wanting to help and help rebuild our classrooms. But most importantly, I think, our faculty and coming together the way we are, and it's not just about what you can try to get for your own classroom, but we're helping each other. We're going to make sure that we all have what we need for next year. And I think taking care of each other, and that's what we need to do. And I can just see everybody's rallying around us, and I so appreciate that. Like, I feel the love, and I'm not worried about what I'm going to have next year, because I know that we will get what we need and it will be taken care of. And I have that confidence. So I appreciate all the love and support we've gotten so far. It's been wonderful.
You know, when I see, when I first saw those pictures, just the devastation and just picturing those kids and the confusion of not going back to school, and then seeing the demolished building on the news and on social media. But, you know, now that I talk to you guys, I'm just so happy that that they have you. That they have those teachers who believe in them and love them relentlessly, and refuse to give up on them and stay connected to them. I love that they have you. I love what your school stands for, the strength, and I love the lessons these kids are going to learn by watching you model what to do in really, really challenging times. And I really thank you guys for spending a few minutes with me tonight.
Thank you for having us. And
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. You guys are awesome. Hey, everyone, on the Help a Teacher Facebook page, there are Amazon lists to help out. And so if there's anything you guys could do, they would all really appreciate it. And so would their kids. Thank you guys. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.